Hello and welcome! Today I'll show you how to create this beautiful long sleeve shirt. It's an absolute basic piece to have, but at the same time very elegant, and depending on the fabric you use, it looks very different, so you can make it fit your personal style. The pattern is available on my Patreon, but you can also just make it yourself. To make this shirt, I'm going to use this pattern, and I made it a while ago and it was very simple. I just took this long sleeve shirt that fits me well and just laid it down on paper, traced around it, cut it out, and I had my pattern. This is the fabric I'm going to use. It's a dark green jersey and it's just a little bit on the thicker side, and it's almost the same color as my pullover, just a little bit darker, and I just really like this tone of green. And now I'm just going to take my pattern and cut out all the pieces. Everything is cut out, so I have the front, the back, the sleeves and the neckband, and now I can start to assemble it, and I'm just going to sew together with my overlock. But of course you can also just use your regular sewing machine with a zigzag stitch. So I take out my overlock, plug it in and set it to the settings I usually use when I sew knits, and then I do a little test piece because you never know how the seam looks on a specific fabric, and I just made sure that it is stretchy and that you can't see the seam on the outside. So now I was sure it works, so I could start sewing the shirt together, and I started with the shoulder seams. The shoulder seams are sewn, and while sewing them I let my serger cut off about 4 millimeters, because in my pattern I have 1 centimeter seam allowance and the overlock seam is only about 6 millimeters wide. So I just had to cut that off to make the seam be in the correct place. And now I'm going to attach the sleeves. On my sleeve I looked which side is the front and which is the back, and then I pinned it right sides facing each other onto the bodice piece, and I just used many pins to pin it together because this seam is not the easiest to sew because it's very curvy, but just take your time and it will work. Next, I fold the shirt right sides facing each other and close up the underarm seam and the side seam. And the only thing that is a little bit difficult about sewing the seam is to line up the shoulder seam, but it doesn't matter that much because it's in a place where no one will notice anyways. The sleeves are attached and it's already looking very much like a long sleeve shirt, so all that's left to do is to attach the neckband and to hem the sleeves and the bottom edge. First I prepare the neckband, so I just fold it lengthwise and sew it together to create a loop, and then I fold it in the other direction and sew it together as well to make my life a little bit easier when sewing it onto the neckline. And then I pin the neckband evenly onto the neckline and just again use many pins because it makes your life easier. And then I just sew those pieces together, and while attaching the neckband, make sure to put the seam of the neckband in the back and not in the front, because when I tried on my long sleeve shirt I tried it on the wrong way around, so I had the back in the front, and for a moment I thought that I put the seam in the front and I was so annoyed, but then I just noticed I had it on the wrong way around. But just make sure that you do it correctly. And at the end I just hemmed everything. It is finished and I absolutely love it. I think it looks very elegant and at the same time very casual, and I also very much like the color. I think it matches my eyes. Overall, I think the project is very beginner friendly and also quick to make, so that's why I highly encourage you to make it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you want to watch another one, you can watch this one where I made a very easy summer dress.